The study of the Book of Zohar is above all studies and a great correction to the soul. Since the whole of the Torah is the name of the Creator, it is nevertheless clothed in stories, and one who reads the stories thinks of the literal. However, in the Book of Zohar, the secrets themselves are revealed, and the reader knows that they are the secrets of the Torah, although it is not understood because of the smallness of the attaining, and the depth of the attained. "34 Zohar, a portion of Naso. Godliness does not change or is in any way affected by those degrees and corrections and names in time, place, and change of action that the lower ones discern in his covers. Rather, we should know that these covers also serve for disclosures. Moreover, by the measure of the cover in each name and correction, so is the measure of disclosure in it." One who is rewarded with receiving the measure of covers properly is later rewarded with these covers becoming measures of disclosures for him. One who studies should remember these words during the study, and he will not fail in his thought. "35 from Bala Sulam, a speech for the completion of the Zohar. It is said in the Zohar that the book of Zohar will be revealed only at the end of days, the days of the Messiah. This is so because we have already said that if the degrees of the students are not at the full measure of the degree of the author, they will not understand his intimations, since they do not have a common attainment. And since the degree of the authors of the Zohar is at the full level of the 125 degrees, they cannot be attained prior to the days of the Messiah. It follows that there will be no common attainment with the authors of the Zohar in the generations preceding the days of the Messiah. Hence, the Zohar could not be revealed in the generations before the generation of the Messiah." 36 from Bala Sulam, Introduction to the Book of Zohar. The redemption of Israel and the whole of Israel's merit depend on the study of the Zohar and the internality of the Torah. "37 Rav Kook. Now the time dictates acquiring much possessions in the inner Torah. The Book of Zohar breaks new paths, sets lanes, makes a highway in the desert, and all its crops are ready to open the doors of redemption." Okay, friends, please turn off your friends. We're going to be reading Zohar for all from Vayekel, item number 450.
השיעור מבוסס על סדרת ספרי זוהר לעם. ניתן להוריד את הספרים באתר קבלה לעם kab.co.il או להזמינם בטלפון 1-700-509-209.
Hello, we're reading from Zohar for All, volume 5, the portion Vayakel, and paragraph 450. You can ask questions from the atar. Let's try and be concentrating together in order to invite the light upon us, and let's hope that the Zohar will do some work on us and will actually connect us between us. Please. 450. It is written, your eyes are on the field which they reap. It is written, your eyes are on the field which they reap. Why the need to write it here? There are several verses in the Torah that seem as though they need not be written, and we see that they are all high secrets. Moreover, one who sees this verse and does not look in it is as one who has never tasted a stew. 451. This was said in the Holy Spirit because Boaz, the judge of Israel, saw the humbleness of that righteous woman, that she did not raise her eyes to look elsewhere, but in front of her face, and saw all that she saw with a kind eye, and there was no insolence in her. He praised her eyes. 452. There are eyes for which blessing does not govern in that place, but Boaz saw a kind eye in her, that wherever she looked, it was a kind eye. He also saw that success was with her, that everything she picked was added in the field. Boaz looked at how the spirit of holiness was over her. Then he started and said, your eyes are on the field which they reap. Is it because they were picking those others that he said to Ruth, your eyes are on the field which they reap, and follow them? Thus, how did he say that she should follow them? It should have written, and pick after them. What is, and follow them? Indeed, he said, and follow them, because of her eyes, for her eyes caused many blessings. This is why, and follow them, meaning follow your eyes. All the people in the world have no permission to follow their eyes, but you will follow your eyes, for your eyes cause many blessings. 453. Your eyes are on the field which they reap. Boaz saw in the spirit of holiness that high kings and rulers, the eyes of all, were destined to come out from her. It is as Tamar was, of whom it is written, and sat in the gateway of Enaim, which eyes, meaning she sat at the door, and kings and high rulers, which are called eyes, came out of her, as it is written, if from the eyes of the congregation. This is so because as all the organs of the body follow only the eyes, and the eyes lead the entire body, so kings and the Sanhedrin and all those rulers follow them. This is why he said to her, your eyes, for these are the kings and the rulers that were to come from her. 454. On the field which they reap. A field is Zion and Jerusalem. As it is written, Zion will be ploughed as a field. It is also written, as the smell of a field from the Lord has blessed, which is Jerusalem. This is why it is written, your eyes are on the field, for these eyes of her which are to come from her govern only in the field which they reap. since from that field all the people of the world would take Torah and a light that shines, as it is written, for the law, Torah, will go forth from Zion. 455. And follow them with these good deeds that I see in you. It is written, but I have commanded the youths not to touch you. For a woman's mind is rash, and this is why he warned the youths from touching her. It is also written, when you are thirsty, go to the water jars, and drink from what the youths draw. When you are thirsty is a euphemism. If you wish to attach yourself to a man to keep a seed in the world, go to the Kelim. Those are the righteous, who are called the Kelim of the Creator. As it is written, purify yourselves, you who carry the vessels of the Lord. The righteous are destined to bring them the whole world as a gift to the Messiah King. They are the vessels of the Lord, the Kelim that the Creator enjoys. They are broken Kelim, broken in this world, to keep the Torah. And the use that the Creator uses them, He uses only out of those Kelim, and when you cling to them and drink. His heart was merry. 456. Boaz ate and drank, and his heart was merry. His heart was merry means that he blessed for his food. One who blesses for his feed does good to his heart. He is, as it is written, to you my heart says. It is also written, the rock of my heart, which means Malchut, who is called heart. 457. Because the Creator favors the blessing for the food, anyone who blesses for satiation benefits and delights another place, Malchut. Similarly, on Shabbat meals, another place, Malchut, enjoys the blessing for that satiation and the joy. And here, Malchut enjoys the blessing for that satiation of the righteous Boaz. This is the meaning of what it is written, and his heart was merry. 458. Malchut enjoys the blessing for the food, because man's food, which is the place of Malchut, is hard before the Creator. And once a man has eaten and drank, and blesses the blessing for the food, that blessing rises, and Malchut enjoys those words that are said about the satiation that rises. It follows that the man enjoys the food below, and Malchut above. 459. On weekdays, that place enjoys only those words that rise out of satiation, the blessing for the food, and all the words are crowned, satiated, and satisfied in delight, and that place enjoys them. On Shabbat, it is a different matter. Malchut enjoys the actual food, and that joy of the food of the mitzvot of the Shabbat, and the food itself is completely included, above and below, as it is written, for all things come from you, and from your hand we have given you. That is, Malchut enjoys that delight of man, and in that delight, in the food of the mitzvot of the Shabbat. 460. One who blesses the Creator out of satiation should aim his heart to place his will in joy, and to not be sad. Rather, he should bless with joy and place his will, which he now gives to another, with joy and with a kind eye. As one who blesses with joy and a kind eye, so will he be given with joy and with a kind eye. And therefore he will not be sad at all, but in joy and in words of Torah, and he will place his heart and mind on blessing where needed, Malchut. 461. 4 Merkavot govern the 4 directions of Malchut. The camps of angels are nourished by the blessing over the satiation, and in the words, "Blessed are you," in the blessing for the food, the Malchut enjoys, grows, and is crowned in him. And he who blesses, the will should be in joy, and in a kind eye. That is why it is written, "He who has a kind eye will be blessed." 462. He who has a kind eye will be blessed, because he gives of his bread to the poor. If the beginning of the text that does not discuss the blessing for the food, the beginning of the text is not its end, and its end is not its beginning. That is, they are unrelated. Rather, one who has a kind eye blesses with a kind eye, with joy. And it is with good reason that he blesses with joy. For out of those blessing and joy, he gives his bread to the poor. That is, the place that should be nourished on all the sides, from the right and from the left, a place that has nothing of its own, a place that enjoys all the sides and is included from all the sides, Malchut. This is why she is called poor, and it is written about her, "For he gives of his bread to the poor." These words are given only to the wise, who know the upper secrets and the ways of the Torah. 463. Boaz had a kind eye. There was never any insolence in him. It is written, "He went to lie down at the end of the heap." As it is written, "Your belly is a heap of wheat," said about Malchut. Here, too, at the end of the heap, is Malchut. Anyone who blesses the blessing for the food properly, with joy, with the will of the heart, when he rises from this world, a place is set up for him inside the upper secrets in the holy palaces of Malchut, who is called a heap. This is what the text implies. He went to lie down. Once he passed away from the world, at the end of the heap, Malchut. Happy is a man who keeps the mitzvot of his master, who knows their secrets. We have no mitzvah in the Torah on which high secrets, lights, and sublime splendors do not hang. But people do not know and do not consider the glory of their master. Happy are the righteous who engage in the Torah. Happy are they in this world and in the next. 464. All those insolent ones who have no shame have no part in this world or in the next world. When all those insolent ones who were in Israel looked at that ornament, their hearts would break and they would look at their deeds. This is because the ornament stood on a token with the engraving, "Sanctified to the Creator," and anyone who looked at it was ashamed of his actions. This is why the ornament atones for the insolent and impudent. 465. The letters of the holy name that were engraved on the ornament would illuminate with a bold and sparkling light. The face of anyone who looked at that sparkling of the letters would fall with fear, and his heart would break. Then the ornament atones for them, such as this matter, since it caused him to break his heart and yield before his master. The incense. 466. Likewise is the incense. Anyone who smelled that smoke when the pillar of smoke went up from that one who raises smoke would scrutinize his heart in a scrutiny to serve his master, and this would remove the filth of the evil inclination from him. He would have only one heart toward his Father in heaven, because the incense is indeed the breaking of the evil inclination on all the sides. And as the ornament would rise over a banner, so it was with the incense, for nothing in the world breaks the sitra achra but incense. 467. It is written, "Take the pan and place fire on it over the altar, and place incense." It is written, "For there is wrath gone out from the Lord, the plague has begun." It is so because there is no shattering to that side except through incense, for there is nothing more favourable to the Creator than incense, which can cancel charms and bad things from him. The smell and the smoke of incense that people make cancels charms with that deed. It is especially so with incense. 468. There is a sentence before the Creator that anyone who looks and reads the story of the incense each day will be saved from all the bad things and charms in the world, as well as from all those harms, bad thoughts, bad judgment, and from death. No harm will happen for the whole of that day, because the Sitra Achra cannot rule over him, and he must intend in it. 469. If people knew how sublime is the work of the incense before the Creator, they would take each and every word from it, and would raise it to be a crown over their heads, like a crown of gold. One who exerts in the work of incense should be observed. If he intends in it each day, he has a part in this world and in the next world. Death will forever depart from him, and he will be saved from any judgment in this world, from evil sides, from the din of hell, and from the din of the other Malchut. 470. In that incense, when the smoke would rise like a pillar, the priest would see letters of the holy name flying in the air, rising upward like a pillar. Afterwards, several holy merkavot surround it from all sides, until she rises in light and joy, delights those who delight, ties, and unifies unifications above and below to unify everything. This atones for the evil inclination and for idol worshipping, the Sitra Achra. Are there any questions? It's okay, let's continue. You just need to grasp together as much as possible so that the upper light will operate on us. If there's no connection, the light won't work. Only on connection. And according to that resistance to the connection, if we ask, then we will receive. You shall make an altar as a place for burning incense. 471. There are two altars, an altar for offerings and an altar for the incense offering. One is without and one is within. The altar for the incense is within. But why is it called an altar? After all, no sacrifices are offered on it. 472. But because it cancelled and prohibited several evil sides, and because the Sitra Achra is imprisoned, he cannot rule or be a prosecutor. This is why it is called an altar, since the Sitra Achra was imprisoned and tied to it like an offering. When the Sitra Achra sees the rising smoke of the incense, he surrenders and flees, and cannot approach the tabernacle at all. This is why he was purified, and no other mingled with that joy above but the Creator himself. And because he is so cared for, he does not stand in that altar, but inside, for it is an altar where blessings are found. This is why it is hidden from the eye, for it stands inside. 473. It is written about Aaron, and he stood between the dead and between the living, and the plague was stopped, since he imprisoned the angel of death until he could not rule at all or pass judgment. And wherever the work of the incense is said with intent and with the will of the heart, death does not govern in that place, and he will not be harmed, nor will the rest of the people be able to rule over that place. 474. It is written, you shall make an altar as a place for burning incense. Since it writes altar, why is it called a place for burning incense? But because fire is taken from this place to light the incense, as did Aaron, as it is written, take the pan and place on it fire over the altar. Moreover, it is because incense must be burned on the altar and should be sanctified with incense, for it is forbidden to burn incense anywhere but in a pan. 475. One who is chased by din needs this incense and to repent before his master, since the incense is help to remove the dinim from him. By that, the dinim certainly depart from him, if he regularly mentions twice a day, morning and evening, as it is written, a burnt offering in the morning, in the morning. It is also written, at dusk he shall burn it. This is the perpetual sustenance of the world, as it is written, a perpetual incense before the Lord throughout your generations. It is certainly the keeping of the world below and the keeping of the world above. 476. In a place that is not mentioned, when they do not say the work of the incense each day, there are dinim of above on it. Many plagues are in it, and other nations govern it. As it is written, a perpetual incense before the Lord. It always stands before the Creator more than all other works. The work of the incense is more respected and favoured by the Creator than all the works and desires in the world. And although the prayer is the most important, the work of the incense is more respected and esteemed by the Creator. 477. What is the connection between prayer and the work of the incense? A prayer was established instead of the sacrifices that Israel would do. All those sacrifices that Israel would do are not as important as the incense. Moreover, what is the connection between them? A prayer is a correction, to correct what is needed. Incense does more. It corrects, ties, unifications, and makes more light than anything, removing the filth and purifying the tabernacle. And everything illuminates and is corrected and tied together. 478. Hence, the work of the incense should come before the prayer each day, to remove the filth from the world, which is the correction of everything on each day, like a desirable offering that the Creator desires. 479. It is written about Moses, and the Lord said unto Moses, take for yourself spices. What is the difference that when it is said, take for yourself, of all that he said to him, and did not say to him, take for yourself? Indeed, take for yourself means for your own pleasure and use. This is because when a woman is purified, it is the delight of her husband. For the incense purifies the tabernacle, who is Malchut, Moses' bride, where Moses was a Merkavah of Zerampin. It is written about it, take for yourself spices to remove the filth. So the woman would be sanctified, meaning Malchut, with her husband Zerampin. 480. Similarly, it is written, take for yourself a bull calf, which was said to Aaron. This also means for your own delight and use, to atone for his sin, for the calf he had caused Israel. This is why it is written in regard to Moses, take for yourself for your own pleasure and use. 481. The incense ties a tie. It unites, illuminates light, and removes filth. And the letter Dalet becomes the letter Hey, for prior to the Zivug with Zerampin, Malchut is Dalet. For being without Chasadim, she does not illuminate, and she is poor. And when Zerampin mates with her, the Chochmah in her dresses in Chasadim, and she illuminates in all the perfection, and becomes the letter Hey. The incense unifies the unification of Zerampin with Malchut, thus causing the Dalet to become Hey. Through it, Hey connects with Vav, Zerampin. Vav rises and is crowned in the first Hey Binah to receive abundance for Malchut. And the first Hey Binah shines in the letter Yud, Chochmah, to give to Zerampin. And all raise to desire to Ein Sof, and all Chochmah, Binah, Zerampin and Malchut become Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, one high knot. All this is done by the incense. 482. Henceforth, since everything is tied in that tie, everything was crowned in Ein Sof, and the holy name shone and was crowned on all the sides, and the worlds were all in joy. The candles illuminated, and there were blessings and food in all the worlds, and all came to the incense. For if the filth were not removed by the incense, none of it would be done, because everything depends on it. 483. The incense is always first, before everything. This is why the work of the incense should come before a prayer, songs and praises. It is because all of this does not rise and is not corrected or connected until the filth is removed by the incense. In the beginning it is written, and he shall atone for the holy place from the impurity of the children of Israel. And then it is written, and from their transgressions to all their sins. This is why there is a need to atone for the holy place, to remove the filth, and to purify the holy place through the incense, and then songs, praises, and prayer. 484. Happy are Israel in this world and in the next world, because they know how to correct the correction of above and below, as the correction from above to below should be corrected, until all is tied together in one tie, in that high tie, the incense, when there is a need to correct in the correction of the inscribed letters in which the Creator is read, Havaya. In sadness you will bear children. Rav, on one side, on one side, everything you can do, you should do, and on the other side, it says just sit and better not to do anything. Rav, it depends on what you're talking about. It's talking about the mitzvah that you try and perform an action of bestowal, do with all your strength from all sides. Yes? And the second one? Sit and better don't do anything. And so it's better if you don't know what to do, don't do anything. That's it. One's referring to restriction, the other one's to the Masach. What is Rav? What does that mean to object to connections? You don't, Rav. You don't feel that? I feel it's not really clear to me, Rav. If I really want to connect with friends, we'd be all day. I'd be thinking of them. When will we be meeting? What we're going to do together, and how can we actually connect our thoughts together? That's very clear. If we don't have that, if I don't have that urge, it's very hard for me. It's hard for me to think in that direction. What are you asking? It's like a lack of desire. Rav, yes, that desire you have to get from the light above. So it's really the lack of desire. It's not really objection. Rav, try and to actually see the objections that you get, even the desire itself. Today we talked about Europe. Maybe a lack of desire, or there's an objection there to, or maybe it's natural for them because they're dispersed. Rav, as much as the ego is developed, then there's more. It's harder to connect. There are a lot of people dispersed over a lot of countries. It's very hard to connect. Everybody sits in their own country. How can I connect? Rav, I don't understand what your question is. My question is, how can you actually, above all, create a desire for connection? Rav, you need to request, to pray for each other, do all these actions. I don't have anything else to add. For thousands of years they've written. That's all they've written about. What is the wisdom of Kabbalah? It's the wisdom of the connection. That's all. So that's really the solution. Rav, it's not the solution. The solution is in your heart. That you will actually invite your friends, and together with them you will be able to awaken the upper light. That everyone, when everybody prays, it doesn't really affect, but when everybody does it together, it does. It works together when everybody prays together. Until we actually get that to that stage, it takes a while to get there. Everybody then, and it takes time, and people then will understand that you need to act correctly. On a daily work, we know what to do physically because we can actually pick up a phone to somebody and connect, and then we can actually feel but when we're actually reading Zohar, how can we feel? What actions should I be feeling that I'm actually objecting to? Rav, if I'm sitting here with a few other thousand people in the world, there are many places that Zohar in the Latin America, they really like to be in the Zohar lessons. So we need to now, during the lesson, to yearn to be together, to awaken the upper force, so it will connect us together. And then in the connection between us, we will feel the degree of spirituality. The first degree of connection will be after that, of course, there will be an objection. No. We are actually fighting in order to, we are actually together. We are actually asking for connection in the network of connection, and the upper light will actually then connect us to the second degree. Different question. In the Zohar lesson, sometimes you feel, sometimes there's like a vacuum, like a big chasm. There's no place, there's no connection, and you see there's no connection, and there's no way to actually bestow if there's no connection. So how in that place, what's the right request? Should we be building a bridge? Rav, it's not really the correct request to build a bridge, because you're telling the Creator actually what to do. You shouldn't do it through the means, but you actually talk about the goal, the aim, and the way it's actually done we don't know, and it's not really worthwhile even to think about it. I want something, like a little boy. I want. In what way? I don't know, but I want it. Rav, during the Congress, I think it was lesson number 4, you spoke about that you mustn't pray for yourself, but when you pray for your friends, when you're praying for others, the self-correction. Can you repeat that again? What does that mean? When I pray for the friends, that's my correction. That is my correction, to pray for my friends. There's nothing more to correct. But sometimes you've got no energy. Rav, of course not. Of course not. So then you ask that, Rav, no. That's like a shell. I mustn't worry about myself. So that's a shell, a klipa? Rav, yes. Only for them do I actually ask. There's actually nothing. There's nothing to correct within me except my relationship with them, how I relate to them. Building an intention, is that called an intention? Is that a prayer? Building an intention, it starts with some actions, right and left, and slowly the intention, it sort of settles in place. Yes. Again, do not request for yourself under no circumstances. The opposite. It it's. How can I say that? The neshama, the soul, is a vessel of bestowal. I want to actually just get rid of my ego. Why? You want is not good. You can only want one thing: to invest all of your things in others so that they actually have connection towards the Creator outside of you. Every time you turn inwards, then it's a klipa. Thank you. Can I have another question, please? What is a real prayer with regard to the 10? Rav, a real prayer is for the connection between us. Can we imagine it as like a network of connections, that I'm actually operating something? I don't know what I'm operating. I'm making sure that the light. I don't actually have any connection with what happens. I'm just turning to the upper light. Thinking about the friend during the day, is that actually working about it? Rav, I don't know. You're talking about the connection between us and really the 10. Maybe we could decide to think about a specific friend. That could be. But when I think of somebody, privately, I don't think that's correct. There are some special circumstances, maybe. Thank you. Rav, yes, give to Amnon. When we read in the Zohar, we expect that the reforming light will actually connect us. So what is my expectation for Yeshua? My expectation for redemption is that I will build a a system of connections between us, that it will be revealed, and he will enjoy it. So what does that mean to be busy, to work in the Torah? That means that I ask for the upper light to do the corrections. The redemption and the dealing in the Torah, I actually expect the redemption. Rav, yes. Thank you. Rav, so who is the creator in this network of connections between us? The Boré is the connection between us that is revealed, and we feel this connection, we reveal it, we feel it, it really fills us up. That's yes, give it to him, please. Rav, I came back from the Congress in New Jersey with a feel of just incredible excitement. I saw you, how you run in the middle, in the hall, from corner to corner. I don't remember what you're talking about. There were many things to do. No, I'm just joking with you. Where does this inspiration come from? I'll tell you. There's a combination of circumstances. No, first of all, the Americans, they did a great job. For this, specifically the last year, they've opened to the merit of our department. They've opened up courses. They've pulled in a lot of people. They're very serious. They work on it. They're building centers for themselves. Canada has moved to a huge center, and they're expanding themselves. You feel that they're actually blossoming. Apart from that, they have a lot of teachers, local teachers. A lot of them actually know Hebrew. Some of them know Hebrew, and they really know the material. They have support from the English-speaking community around the world. In short, they really prepared themselves very, very well. They had material ahead of time. I told them that they will be sitting next to me. We did preparation, how they will sit. There was a great preparation and a very strong desire and good desire, and therefore it succeeded. That's the first thing. The second thing, in this Congress there were people, I don't know how many, maybe 20% new people. They just finished a campus or something like that. They also were very inspired. There were a few people that came from South America, and also from the whole of the United States, from all different directions. Sometimes it's hard for them to come to Israel. Today, even now, today, it's hard for them to even survive. But as much as they could, they invested. They actually gave a good example to all of us. It's not the first time that I saw they have an internal desire, I think you all felt it. There's an internal desire to succeed and to do this only together, with that in mutual guarantee. And all of a sudden you see that it was from this general desire. I've really enjoyed seeing this. I did actually have a problem when they were on the stage with me, because I'm normally plan the text. I'm going to read something now, and then we'll ask, and then it sort of broke my internal preparation. And they sort of broke my train of thought. And now in the Italian Congress, we have to decide how we're going to do that. I don't quite know how to do that. Maybe I need to calm down the number of times I actually come out and say things. I'm still not sure. We'll talk about it together here, and with the Italians, with the Europeans. We'll find a good way an order of doing things. But apart from that, I very, very much enjoyed myself. And also the idea of people sitting next to me, a few teachers, local teachers, it was very good. That they'll actually get, that the audience can see that they're the representatives. I think I had this great idea. So this inspiration is what's it depend on, this inspiration that I had? Rav, no, your inspiration is yours. There were some people there that weren't inspired at all, but somebody wants to feel it, because in the atmosphere there was this desire to succeed. Even the musicians, very, very professional. They took upon themselves a great part of their joy and happiness. The kitchen, Ilya, he prepared everything. They prepared books. There were 80 kids there. We didn't even see them. There was some other wing of the hotel where they took care of them. They did it as it should have been done. From my personal, I didn't feel that the work with the teachers there was anything less, Rav. Me, it was personally difficult to synchronize with them, because I see a chapter. I know the types of questions I want to ask about it. How can I actually, make people fall and falter? I was less flexible. Yeah, but it's fine. It's good. I'm not leaving that idea. Okay? We'll see the next Congress. I hope that we will all connect with it, and we'll do good work. After that, there'll be a Congress in November. I don't know who can travel and how many. I don't know if there's going to be places for people. We have to, deal with it, speak with the organizers. Okay? Let's continue. Again, the intention is that we want the reforming light that will actually bring us connection, and the connection we will actually reveal give contentment to the Creator. And this is called the Torah revealing the Creator in this world. In sadness you will bear children. 485. And to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sadness in childbirth. In sadness you will bear children, and your desire will be for your man. This applies above in Malchut, and is true below, as well in the corporeal woman. To the upper woman, Malchut, it was said, in sadness you will bear children. 486. As the deer longs for the water brooks, there is an animal in the world, Malchut, which governs in governance over 1,000 keys each day. The illumination of Chokhmah is called 1,000. It is a female, and her desire is always for the water brooks, Chasadim de Zerampin, so that the Chokhmah in her will clothe in them, to drink and to satiate the thirst. It is so because Chokhmah cannot illuminate without Chasadim. Hence she is darkness and thirsty for light of Chasadim, which are called water. 487. A deer is male. Tarog, long, is in female form, since the male form is Yarog. Yet this is male and female together, to not separate them. And it is one, that they must not be elevated from one another, but rather both of them together. That Nukva will long for the water brooks. She is impregnated by the male, and it is hard for her because he stands on din. When Malchut is impregnated by Zerampin, when she receives from him the mad of the souls, which connect with her man into a single soul, and then she receives Chokhmah from the soul from the left line. It is known that when the Nukva comes under the domination of the left line, she freezes, and all her openings and gates are shut. 488. When she is in labor, the Creator brings to her one high and great serpent, who bites that place, and she delivers. It is written, I will greatly multiply your sadness in childbirth, because she is shaken each day, and is in sadness over the works of the world. In sadness you will bear children. The serpent saddened the faces of the world, meaning brought death over them, through the seduction of the tree of knowledge. Yet she needs him to open the opening, so she may bear. The blocking of the womb comes from the domination of the left line, which does not unite with the right line. Through the middle line, the Mesach Techirik, which diminishes the left line from Gar, the left surrenders and unites with the right. However, for the diminution of Gar of the Nukva, her Tanhi fall into Bria, and the serpent suckles from her Yesod, which fell into Bria. Thus, the opening of the womb comes by permitting the serpent to suckle from her Yesod. This is why it is considered that the serpent bites her pubis. It is to open the womb of the Malchut through her bonding with the Chasadim on the right. Then she is opened from her blocking and delivers the soul. And it is written, in sadness, through the suckling of the serpent, because of the opening you will bear children. 489. Your desire will be for your man, and he will rule over you. She craves for Zerampin to give her chasadim, so she may satiate her thirst. And he will rule over you means that Zerampin will rule over Malchut, because in the beginning she was as big as Zerampin, and he did not govern her. And because the moon, Malchut, said, it is impossible for two kings to use the same crown, and she was told, go and diminish yourself. For this reason she waned her light and diminished her governance, and she was no authority of her own, except if Zerampin gives her strength. It follows that he is governing her, as it is written, and he will rule over you. 490. In sadness you will bear children. In sadness relates to the serpent. This serpent is needed, for he opened the way for all those souls to come down to the world. Had he not opened the ways for the souls to come down, the souls would not have been within the man. It is written, sin crouches at the door, meaning Malchut's door, which is meant to bear and to bring forth souls to the world, and the serpent stands at that door. 491. And all those souls that must come down in holy bodies, souls that extend from the right line, the serpent does not stand at that door, because then Malchut does not need to draw Chokhmah from the domination of the left, and her gates are not blocked, making her need the serpent's opening. Also, the serpent has no authority in that soul, and if not, then the serpent bites. That place is defiled, and 'tis not a soul that was purified. It is written about them, in sadness you will bear children. This is the serpent, with which she bears souls through his opening. It is so because the serpent is over the body, for the body is born out of the filth of the serpent, and Malchut is over the soul, from which souls are born. Both clothe in one another, one grips the soul, and one grips the body. 492. This serpent is destined to beget all those bodies before it is his time, as it is written, before she travailed, she delivered. It is so because the time of the serpent to beget is in 7 years, and here he begets in 5 years, which is not his time. And in that time when he begets them, he will die of that birth, as it is written, he will swallow up death forever. It is also written, your dead will live, their corpses will rise. Now sing, please.
שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבט אחים גם יחד.
הכנה לשיעור בו.
to add